turn myself down. Yep. Wait for me to pop.
We're going for the TikTok.
Everything's going. This is a serious conversation. You need to behave yourself.
Yeah, but it's all about being well.
Okay, fair enough.
Happy, well.
Fair enough. This is you bring the balance.
You bring the balance.
Okay. All right, Jeremiah. If you move the camera, because he's not gone to the gym recently.
I'm here.
He's a bit there. All right, he's fine. Okay,
it's fine.
That's fine.
Don't worry. We're here. We're here.
So, apologies for the delay. We had a few technical issues. I know you're expecting Kerry on today's episode of UKBF Talks, but we had some issues, and we're going to get Kerry in as soon as possible, but not today. So today, we're just going to have to settle for Mr. Richard Osborne. I was going to say Richard. Yeah, your name is Richard.
How long have we worked together?
His name is Richard, yeah. Mr. Richard Osborne, the founder of UKBF and Business Data Group, to pose the questions that I had for Kerry over to him, and just to also get his viewpoint as a business owner on the importance of well-being, why we need to take it seriously, and some of the experiences that he's had as a business owner, and some of the nuggets of advice that he would give from that perspective. So without further ado...
Are you going to tell people that you've dragged me away from my lunch?
I wasn't looking to do that, but do you know what? I had to quickly go and...
Let's bring people into the moment.
All right. So because of some of the issues that we were having, we had to obviously think of something to do on the spot. Richard was enjoying his sandwich outside. And
in the sunshine.
Yeah. And I quickly went to grab him. He was literally mid-bite. Like, and then he's here. So I want to thank Mr. Rich. I don't know if they can see your glasses.
They're starting to adjust to inside, because with a lovely day like today, in the surroundings that we are in our office at the countryside, I was enjoying the birds singing, the sun, the bench, and my glasses went really dark. And literally, you call me to come in here, and I'm like, I can't even see. But in the couple of moments where we've been set up, we're good. We're good here. To go. Got a nice cup of mocha.
There we go. Branded. All good to go.
Let's go.
So let's crack on. If you can hear us fine, see us fine, let us know in the comments. And if you've got any questions to shoot over to Richard and over to myself, do go ahead and put those in the comments. So the first question that I've got for you, and even before I go into the questions, obviously this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And this conversation is about well-being and how important well-being is in a business environment. And as a business owner, before I go into my questions, what does well-being mean to you?
People talk about, and it's so interesting because I am totally not prepared for this. So I don't even know what questions are coming. So this, if you're watching this is off the cuff. It's a bit of a balance, I'd say, because I'm from a generation where stiff upper lip, you soldier on, you get through it, and mental health and mental well-being was not discussed or aware of, and it wasn't, particularly as a man. I was brought up as you provide, you fight, you get on, you deal with things. If anybody says something a bit out of order to your lady, you knock them out. It's that generation. So people of my generation have been through a whole change in society.
Yeah.
And going back to what I said earlier, it's a balance.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that with challenge builds up resilience. And sometimes, and I say this to my daughter who runs her own business, sometimes when you're feeling anxious about something or nervous, unwieldy, that to me doesn't fall into the same category as mental health, in where, let's use another example like depression.
Yeah.
People you work with go through periods of their life, things happen, and that's not the same category. But when somebody's suffering with a bit of anxiety, and I intentionally use the word bit there, then I would encourage those people to embrace that anxiety, because you're pushing yourself to do something that you're not comfortable with. And we need to be clear and separate the two. So mental health, in my mind, is one category. And as a business owner, and also myself, I'm the worst for looking after my own mental health. I'm like 110 miles an hour. I give myself no time for that, and I'm aware of that. But then on the flip side, I'm very fortunate enough, had my 24th wedding anniversary Monday.
Good job you remembered.
Did you see my mind? And I have a very supportive wife who reminds me to take care of myself. And I think having people around you that look out for you, particularly as an entrepreneur, is really important, because when you're in the trenches, from personal experience, you don't. So the key is balance. Recognizing when something is pushing you out your comfort zone, making you feel uneasy. I use the term anxious, because that is where you grow and develop as a person. Personally, I feel there might be other people who disagree. But then on the other end, there is mental health issues that some people will suffer from, clinical depression, clinical mental health issues. Then you support those people as an employer, for so many reasons, but least not you look after other people, they look after you.
I think one of the things that you touched on there was anxiety, and how your view on anxiety in regards to if it's seen in the right way, it's something that could potentially push you. And one of the things that we've probably heard recently or over the last couple of months is this thing called imposter syndrome, where, for example, you're my boss. If I'm been employed to do a job and I blabbed about it in my interview, I won an Oscar in that interview, but I've actually sat on my desk to do the job. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. But this thing of imposter syndrome kicks in and the anxiety kicks in. But if I'm able to kind of harness that anxiety to say that I'm actually being pushed to out my comfort zone, even if I can't do it, or I can do it to a certain measure, let me apply myself, let me stretch myself to see if I actually can do it. And more times than not, because you've gone the extra bit further, you've applied yourself, you realize that I can actually do this thing that I thought I couldn't do. So just wanted to make that point.
I was watching a presentation or a course, we're going back a few years ago, but an analogy was given as part of this, I'm sure it's a training course, talking about your comfort zone, your comfort bubble. And instinctively, we all live within our comfort zone. And it was drawn, and we haven't got a whiteboard here, but effectively the person presenting drew a circle, put a little X inside the circle, showing this is you within your comfort zone. The area of growth and development is when you push yourself outside that circle. And if you push yourself to do that, then you don't, after you've done that task, whatever it might be, winning the Oscar, you don't then retreat back inside your comfort zone. What happens is your comfort zone expands. And it's important to be mindful of that. So every time you do push yourself, I know, I feel like obviously with this talking about well-being, but there is this grey area, I feel, where we talk about what is well-being and what is pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. But it's important in those scenarios to remember it's difficult now, but it won't be difficult the next time, and the time after that.
No, I definitely agree with that. So let me get through to my questions. Question one, from your experience, what are some of the common mental health challenges faced by a business owner or as a business owner?
This isn't a question you can answer in a binary way. So I'm going to name drop the Drive podcast here.
Yeah.
So, as you know, spoken to a number of business owners from all walks of life. And the challenges from a mental health perspective that they face vary, but quite often the challenges they face mentally are often from within their own desire to break away from an environment that they want to break away from.
Mm.
The person who was speaking to, sort of recording an episode yesterday, and the gentleman who'll be coming up in a few episodes, the challenge he faced was a desire to build something for his family, which is common. Others have had the same one, but this is fresh in my mind. He was so determined to fix that issue because of how he grew up. And I can relate to this, that you become so single-minded in that focus that everything else, your own health, your own relationships with others, everything else falls apart and breaks away. And I think from a business owner perspective, particularly business owners who are driven by such a insatiable desire to use their business to fix something, they've had where challenges, young childhood instances, drama, growing up in a very poor environment, whatever those might be,
Yeah.
and they find themselves, and this is more common than you may believe, using their own business to build a better life for themselves and build a better life for their family. And it all comes around. This is a common thread with so many people that spoke to within Drive, that nothing else matters. And the price paid for that often is mental health, is physical health, and can often be relationships. And going back to the comment I said very early, I'm fortunate to have met a lovely wife. You're watching this, Leslie. Yeah, I see a pat on the back again. Who holds me in check, and it's come to conflict at times because of that, and others have as well. But it's to surround yourself with people who do keep you in check, and that doesn't have to be a wife, husband, partner. It can be the team you work with. So I know there's people within this building who keep me in check as well. And that's a very fortunate position to be in. Others aren't so lucky.
Yeah. I guess having this conversation, you have a unique perspective on this. Speaking as somebody that employs people, how would you advise other people who may be listening or watching who have members of staff or plan to have members of staff, if they see their colleagues or one of their staff struggling in a particular area, what would you advise in order to deal with that?
Most importantly, you have to be approachable. You have to care in a sincere way. I hate with a passion token events, doing things as a token gesture of well-being. If a company turns around and says every second Tuesday of the month is our well-being day, go and speak to somebody, right? Does that mean that mental health doesn't happen, or people don't face emotional challenges every other day of the month?
Yeah.
It has to be a cultural thing. It can't be a process that's just put in place. And that comes from the top. You have to genuinely have a desire to look after the people around you. And if you need a business benefit from it, then the business benefit, as I said earlier, you look after everybody else, they look after you.
Yeah.
You can't just do it because it's the hashtag of the month or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And then if you genuinely want to, it comes naturally.
Yeah.
I can't, I'm sitting there as I'm talking, in the back of my mind, I'm trying to think, how can I articulate this? Because I'm just waffling. But reality is, I don't feel I can. I can't turn around and give a checklist, do that, then do that, then do that, because everybody's unique. Every challenge you face is unique. And if you genuinely care, then you will do what's right for that individual. An issue that you may be going through might be different from an issue that Jeremiah might be going through. Just looking at Jeremiah's in the background, you can't see him here. So I can't come along with a checklist something's happening for you, and go through, okay, checklist. We should check this. No, okay, what about that? No, okay, and just go through that, and then do the same for Jeremiah. It's just you just want to have to talk, and then the environment and the culture. If you have the culture that the culture of a business reflects the culture of the owner, and if the owner lives by what they're saying, it's just natural.
Yeah. No, that's really well put. I think the next question I was going to ask you kind of just answer this. It was how can a small business owner recognize when there's something basically happening? And you've kind of just said that creating the right atmosphere where people are comfortable to speak, a genuine atmosphere, genuine culture where you're approachable, other people within the team are approachable to have those conversations. What steps can small business owners take to promote good mental health in the workplace?
Let's take this morning's conversation where we talk. So you've had a few days off. You've just come back from a long weekend, went away with your wife, and just chatting. And you said, I took my laptop with me. And what was my immediate response to that?
You didn't need to do that.
Yeah, it's just, why would you take your laptop with you to check in on work or anything like that? And it's the same thing when somebody goes away on holiday. So having their time of weekend. There's times where we have to work of an evening. So we do, as a business, part of our social media marketing, when Dragon's Den's on, that's on at 8 till 9 on a Thursday evening when it is on. So, right, if we're going to do our social media marketing and those social media activities, we work that hour. So there's things like that happen. But generally, it's a fact. It's not I believe. It's a fact. I'm the one that took the decision to start this business. So I take that responsibility on. If things go pear-shaped and I need to call on any members of the team, exceptional circumstances, they know that I'm doing it for a genuine reason, because there is a genuine, something's going on that needs that person's attention. Whether it's a weekend or whatever, if they're on holiday, I can't think of any examples now, but because every other time, if they go on holiday, if they take time off, or they've got a family emergency or something, that the family will always come first and always must. It's give and take. I'm using holidays as an example because it's a really easy example. If you're going on holiday, you are on holiday. And if anything happens during that time, the buck stops with me and I have to deal with it. And if it's something that I've got no knowledge about because that person's dealt with it, handled it all fine, I still cannot call that person when they're on holiday to say, what happened about this, that, and the other? It's my responsibility. I made the decision to start this business, not you or anybody else out there. So the ultimate responsibility for everything rests on me. I believe that approach reiterates to the team and everybody within the team, that values are important and that I respect their own personal needs, family time, the things that are important to them. I can't, I'm not at home with these people in the evenings. I'm not part of their family circle. So I don't, can't pretend to be. What I can be is keep a half an eye on how they're behaving. If somebody's particularly quiet or actually, in this environment here, people just say and explain, just say such and such happened. I'm not quite in my usual state of mind currently, whatever it might be. So it's a difficult one because the culture here, is that people just talk and explain.
Yeah.
But trying to think that if somebody didn't, then the responsibility is on me to be observant. That, to be actually thinking back over the past few years, that became even more so when everybody was working remote throughout the pandemic, and then you lose that ability to connect with each other, which is why we did things like having just hanging out in Zoom or Teams calls all together, and why I've been particularly keen to push people to come back into the office a few days a week to bring back the community aspect of everybody being together. And it does allow me to get the sort of temperature in the room of, to use an expression, of how my take on how everybody's feeling.
No, that's really well put. Gosh, my phone keeps timing out.
So I'm talking too much.
Well, I guess some of these other questions, you're not a specialist, you're not an expert. So I'm not gonna ask you. But if you said that you come from a different generation, right? I think you're a boomer. I think that's what they call you.
I'm Gen X. Boomer's a bit beyond me.
My
son calls me a boomer to wind me up.
Okay.
So I'm not that old yet. So Gen X is the thing that I've kind of...
Okay, he's a boomer.
Which is the rough generation.
The rough generation. All right, so...
We climbed trees and broke our arms as a rite of passage.
Okay. Gen X. We have... You alluded before that your daughter runs her own business as well. Yeah. So for the next batch of business owners that are arising and starting businesses now, what advice would you give them, having been in business for 20 plus years, on how they can approach business when it comes to looking after themselves? You said before that you're not the best person to do that, but having hindsight of the last 20 years in being in business, and also the numerous people, successful business owners and senior execs that you've spoken to on the Drive podcast, what advice could you give to this new crop that are rising at the moment?
How blunt do you want me to be?
Be very blunt.
Be very blunt. Okay. The advice to the business owners, the individuals starting their business, is you're just going to have to deal with it in that sense. For them themselves to drive their business and grow their business successfully, they've got to give it their all. That's if they want to drive and grow their business. I'm going to put a caveat in here and say, if your desire is a side hustle, there's absolutely, and I want to emphasize, absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I'm not making side hustles out to be not as valuable or not as great, because it's a lifestyle choice. However, if you're looking to, I'm focusing on, if you're looking to build a business to grow, build a team, grow into like millions or whatever, that's your desire, then as an individual, you've got to give it your all, and that's going to cost you. There's no other way of putting it, in my opinion. It's going to cost you. So what you need to do is have people around you who have your back. And I mean your emotional, your well-being back. And these are people that mean something to you, because you have to listen to them. You have to respect what they're saying. And they have the relationship between you then has to be at a certain point where there is that respect level where you take a point and think, okay, this person's saying something, so I'm not going to dismiss it. So yeah, I'll take a week off next year. Like somebody who actually says something, you listen to it, because you're not going to do it yourself. The problem that you find if you're giving it your all to get your business off the ground, because The reality is everything's going to be coming at you. If something can go wrong, it's going to go wrong. There's going to be unforeseen circumstances. There's going to be famine and feast as you're trying to sort of get it off the ground, make money, pay the bills. There's going to be all hens, loads of problems that you just haven't even thought of. So for it to work, you have to give it your all. When you're doing that, you don't see the line. You don't see when you've crossed the line to the point it's having a detrimental impact on you until it's too late, until you have a breakdown, have a heart attack, whatever these things might happen, lose your friends, whatever happens, these things, the costs are high. So you're focusing on growing your business. You need a support network around you. And that support network, I'm not talking you have to have a whole load of 20 people. You just need a handful of people that know what you're going through, know what you're trying to do, support you in doing that, and the relationship is strong enough where they can turn around and just say, let's go down the golf course. I'm taking you out. I'll take you for a round of golf. Or if it's a couple, right, I'm booking a holiday. I don't care what you're saying. We're having a week off because you need to get away from this. These sort of people that will take action to do that, because by the time they're saying that, the line you've crossed in your looking after yourself is way gone, way gone.
Yeah.
And they can see the warning signs that you can't see yourself. That's my view.
Yeah.
I can feel people disagreeing with me.
Yeah.
But my view is based on, as you just said, 20 years of experience of doing this. You can't see the wood from the trees. It happens so many times in life in so many different ways. When you're trying to achieve something, you're trying to get to that end goal, everything else fades away from your peripheral vision.
Yeah. So, I really appreciate the bluntness, because you did also say that if it's trying to grow a business, and obviously you want the business to be successful, it's going to take a level of sacrifice. But you did say that having one or two people that that know you inside out, that know where you are, that know the journey, that can literally say, let's stop, let's do this, let's do that, that can hold you accountable, is very, very important. So I'm sure if people have got things that they disagree with, they'll let us know. They'll let us know, which is fine. But I'm going to let you get back to your sandwich. I'm going to let you enjoy. Let me see, Jeremiah, have we got any questions? Any comments on TikTok?
Dumbfounded.
Not on TikTok.
Sorry.
That's all good. Thank you very much for joining us today. Do you want to tell people about the Drive podcast?
Why not? We have an audience.
We've got an audience here.
We've got an audience here. So if you don't know already, why not? If you don't know already, so we have a podcast Drive, which comes out every fortnight. And I think I can say the next guest, can't I? Coming out on Tuesday.
Yeah, you can say that, yeah.
So next guest is Dragon's Den star, ex-chairman of Millwall, Theo Paphitis, talking about his journey from coming from a working class family in Limassol and his careers through to his first business, selling his first business. And we even talk about how he met Mrs. P.
Wow.
So that's the next episode coming up.
What is the Drive podcast?
The Drive podcast.
You just talked about your guest there. You got excited about the next guest.
Yeah, no, okay. So the passion behind, I'll put it this way, behind Drive podcast is more than 99. I think it's like 99.8, 99.9% of businesses in the UK are small micro businesses. But everybody talks about that 0.1%, the big mega businesses that do the hundreds of millions and the big corporates. And whenever you see interviews or things on TV or in the news, it's always like the big, big people. There's a reason why Theo's in the podcast. You'll find out next week. I wanted to speak to the small business owners, the people who run businesses, with a handful of staff. It might not have made the 1 million turnover marker, but these are the people you walk past in the street without even realizing what they're going through, the journeys behind their businesses. People on this park here running small businesses. That's what Drive is about. I want to speak to real people and share their stories of why they do what they do, what drives them to be the psychos who decide to make those sacrifices to grow a small business, and just share who they are and what they are and what's behind them. And I've been doing it for a while now, over a year, and I have never ceased to be fascinated and amazed by the inspirational stories that are on there.
Yeah.
That's the Drive podcast.
Yeah. If you want to find out some more information about the Drive podcast, if you listen to stuff on YouTube, watch stuff on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, type in Drive or type in Richard Osborne, and his face, handsome face, will show up on there
with a little bit of photoshopping,
with a little bit of makeup and all that stuff. Will be on there. But there are some really inspirational stories and real stories, as Richard said, finding out what drives these people to be doing what they're doing. But yeah, thank you for joining us today. Next week,
I was a good substitute.
He was all right. He was all right. Next week, I will be joined by Amanda from TikTok Shop, and she's going to be focusing on exactly what we need to be doing on TikTok and TikTok Shop to be making that money. The sort of content, how long we should be putting that content out for, how long that content needs to be. She's going to be bringing that insight as somebody who works for TikTok directly. So keep an eye out on our social media. If you've not already checked out UKBF, head over to this platform where if you're going through your business journey, if you're starting off, you're in the middle stages, or you're smashing it, you're a millionaire, all these different people are on our UKBF platform, and it's a free platform to join. It's peer-to-peer support full of free resources, how-to guides on how to basically maneuver through your business journey. So check it out. It's free to join, but I'll leave you at that. Have a nice day. Any final words from you, sir?
No, I think I'm talked out.
He wants to get back to his sandwich.
You'll find me on UKBF anyway, because I do love to get involved in the community and answering questions and offering help to people on there as well, from sort of days gone when it started. So ukbf.co.uk. If you have any questions along your business or need any sort of input, I'm on there as well.
Yeah, he's on there as well. I'm on there as well. Have a great day. Enjoy your day. And remember, take care of yourself. It's important.